Hmm. Greetings. Black light. I'm just thinking out loud again, and I want you to think with me because nowadays, brothers and sisters, the black man, it's like every man for himself, no discipline, no thought about really how things are going to come out. Like we too materialistic. So I asked myself the question, and I'm going to put the same question to you. You're poor or you're rich according to whose standards? Is it your government, Uncle Sam, or is it Allah or the Most High or whoever you call upon? Because in the Bible, Jesus was approached by a young rich man who wanted to follow Jesus. Now Jesus was very disciplined. He could go, according to the Bible, 40 days and 40 nights on a fast without eating. And when the devil approached him, told Jesus, if I'm going to show you all the riches I possess, and I'm going to give it to you if you just denounce your God and bow down to me. And Jesus refused to bow down to the devil. So, getting back to the rich man, the young rich man, Jesus said, well, if you want to follow me, give all your possessions to the poor. And the rich man, he said, I can't do that. So Jesus says it's harder for a rich man to go to heaven than it is for a camel to go through an eye of a needle. Something similar to that. I'm not exactly on point on everything that how he ran it, because they was using that old English. And a lot of people think heaven is you got to die to go to heaven. You're up in the sky somewhere, floating on clouds. And when he said an eye of a camel to go, the camel to go through an eye of a needle, you're thinking about a sewing needle with that eye in there, and a camel trying to get through that. Can't even see that. He was speaking on another type of needle. But in other words, he wasn't disciplined enough to really grasp the teachings that Jesus was setting out, and he couldn't conform within himself. So my question is, who determines you being poor? Now, This is a diagram of the powers that's within man. They got 12 of them. Now, this this kind of information is hidden from the masses of the black people and masses of the Caucasian. But in certain parts, like over in Asia, they practice on how to unlock these powers. They got the key. But for 400 years, they kept education from us. We couldn't read. We couldn't write. You know, when we were here, brought over here as slaves. Our culture was kept from us, and we were made to adapt to the Caucasian culture while he studied our culture. We had that kind of knowledge. So, but according to this chart, you're never poor. Because if you realize what type of power that, I'm not going to go into it, the science of it, but if we know how to activate the third eye, and it's techniques that you could use by simply breathing, deep breathing, meditating, breathing and meditating. I mean, you can heal yourself if you know how. Not just with food. I mean, the way they modifying food nowadays, you're not getting real food unless you try to grow it yourself. So, what determines whether or not you're poor or if you're rich? Well, nowadays, if you're in good health, you got wealth. If you're mentally well, if you got a holistic wellness, mind, body, and soul, you're richer than any man with 1,000 tons of gold. So, what's on the outside of you doesn't necessarily make you wealthy or rich, but it's what's on the inside. And if you believe in a higher or a supreme being, then if you believe that the Most High God or Allah is your Father, certainly He created you from Himself. And whatever is in His DNA got to be in yours. So, what determines whether or not, who determines whether you're poor or rich? According to the way Uncle Sam distributes, the way he came over here and just tricked, corrupted, and cheated people, and massacred people, and beat people down to submit to him and his standards. Well, most people nowadays are trying to live up to the, they say, the richest country, the greatest country on the planet. But how did she get that way? How did this United States get like she is? So you got to go to the root. So when you go to the root and study that root and watch that root grow and manifest itself, you notice a long line of corruption, a long line of murder, long line of wars, a long line of bloodshed, a long line of diseases, a long line of lying, cheating. And nowadays, you know, they got a whole lot of drama up in Congress because before the coronavirus, uh, first there was a scandal with Epstein, with Trump and Clinton hanging in Epstein's circle, running with Epstein. Then there was impeachment. Then you heard Trump say, "I can do what I want to do." But what president been cool? When you go to the root of the presidents, George Washington, he had slaves. All of his crew had slaves. Now, Abraham Lincoln didn't have no slaves, but they assassinated him because he had problems with the Rothschilds in the banking industry. He wanted to print up greenbacks. Same with Kennedy. So now they want to eliminate all the poor people. This is Black Lake. Stay tuned for part 2.